Aloha, y'all. It is Wednesday, ruled by Odin, Woden's Day, Wednesday. Heather, what up? Heather has made a request for a song. Uh-oh. It's glitchy on the compatibility front. Hopefully this works. Heather has requested a song, so I will be doing that song. I haven't ever played it before. Hopefully that works. But anyway, today is a Wednesday, January 6th. It's a Sacral Chakra Day, Blue Planetary Night, guided by magic according to the Dream Spell. It is a Sacral Chakra Day, Svadhisthana Chakra, Svadhisthana. Do the mudras, do the mantras. Vam, in this case, the mudra is having your hands like so over your sacral, kind of your stomach area, seated, etc., and see the magic happen. My fiance Haley has actually gotten Vega card. She's pulled twice today, yesterday and today for sound healing is what she got. So let's go ahead and pull a card, many cards really for today. The sun is in Capricorn, the moon is in Libra, Mercury is also in Capricorn, Venus in Sag, Mars in Aries, almost out of Aries, Jupiter, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus is retrograde Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, Pluto, Capricorn, true node in Gemini. So let's go ahead and see what wants to pop. We've got the Seven of Cups. It's a great card, guys. It's a great card. There's no bad cards, really. But the Seven of Cups, very victorious looking, right? Seven of Cups. Cups are about emotions. So if you're Cancer, or rather, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, this will naturally resonate with you. Hopefully this doesn't get too interrupted too much. I don't know why the computer's doing weird, or Facebook's doing too much. It's like trying to reconnect. Okay, we're back. Hopefully this isn't screwing that up. This is about dreaming big, putting a plan into motion to make things happen, receiving guidance from dreams and altered states, and fully exploring your creative gifts. Seven of Cups, I use my imagination. The Seven of Cups is the card of imagination. For the iconic shaman and philosopher Terence McKenna, the imagination signaled the presence of the divine spark within human beings. He saw our imagination literally as the descent. Hold on. I'm going to try something really quick while it's kind of doing this weirdness. Let me try one thing real quick. And I know this will be all jostly on Facebook. YouTube won't be so bad. So I'm going to go to a different Wi-Fi. All right. Hopefully that worked. I switched to a different kind of Wi-Fi setting, and if it doesn't work, that means just it's not good Wi-Fi today. I was having internet issues earlier, so maybe it's one of those days. Anyway, I'll start over just for the sake of the situation. Sacral Chakra Day. Why? It's the waters of creativity, and waters are coming up. Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is about dreaming big and putting a plan into motion to make things happen. Today I'm having Julia Simis, who's in charge of Central Intelligence Agency. CIA is Cosmic Intelligence Agency. Big astrology group. She's coming on the podcast. Should be good. Dream big and put a plan in motion to make them happen. Receiving guidance from dreams and altered states. Fully explore your creative gifts. The gifts of creativity. The sacral chakra. Fully explore that stuff. So, Seven of Cups. I use my imagination. The Seven of Cups is the card of imagination. For the iconic shaman and philosopher Terence McKenna, the imagination signaled the presence of a divine spark within human beings. He saw our imagination literally as the descent of the world soul into all of us. There is no part of our humanity that isn't impacted by the imagination. We are a spark of imagination, and Mother Nature does not create things that have no use. Life viewed through evolutionary eyes reveals how nature shares her resources incredibly sparingly. The question then arises, why do we have this faculty that allows us to conjure and manipulate realities that do not exist, i.e. the imagination, right? Imagination can be, quote, looked at as a vast extension of the visual faculty. Our minds have a spectacular multidimensional eye. In the artwork, the character's physical eyes are covered, but we are gifted with a window into what he is seeing through his inner eyes. We get to see into a whole other reality. Out of each hovering cup arises a spectral image. The human head, symbolizing the mind or the ego, can either guide with wisdom or become self-obsessed and irrational. The bat, symbolizing the power of vision, inner and outer. The mask, symbolizing deceptions or the personas or masks we all wear. The mushroom, symbolizing our symbiotic relationship with the other earthly life forms. The lightning bolt, symbolizing spirit coming to earth. gold coins symbolizing wealth and abundance, and the star geometry symbolizing structure and creativity. The most obvious place imagination offers the highest value is in the domain of human creativity. The activities of producing art, architecture, creative writing and poetry, music, theater, dance, they can all be seen as the fingerprints of imagination. They are evidence of its touch. It's as if the imagination leaves clues wherever it leaves clues everywhere to show where it has been. Unlike a thief who is careful not to leave fingerprints, imagination wants to be discovered. It wants us to know that it is right here in full view. The Seven of Cups calls you to explore your imagination fully, to delight in the fact that you can imagine at all. If you look around, and that's funny because it says if you look, and I said look around, but that's one of the lyrics of the song I'll be playing, Beatles song that's been requested. If you look, you will discover a paradox. It is impossible for you to imagine not being able to imagine. As we move ever more into the domain of virtual or, quote, light realities, the intractability of physical matter is no longer a restriction. We can build anything our minds can entertain. Here, the fingerprints of imagination are algorithms instead of canvas, clay, or physical movement. Imagination is effectively the new currency of these light-based realms. Importantly, there are always blessings and burdens. With fewer and fewer restrictions upon what we can create, the issue of morality takes center stage. More than ever, the imagination must be used skillfully to enhance our human experience and preserve the animal and plant realms. Thoughts can instantly be shared with millions, can lift us to new heights, inspire and entertain, but they can also evoke fear, prejudice, and violence. Will we create endless perversions or miraculous vistas? The answer is probably both. When your mind projects fear into the world, tremendous damage and unhappiness can be the result. The acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real, is a powerful prompt, a reminder to bring awareness and powerful questions to bear on life situations around you. Bring new vistas to life and make them tangible with love. Right? So we're tapping into a creativity with the cups. We're tapping into potentially altered states, drugs, meditation, stuff like that, dreams. And ultimately, we're victorious because we are the imaginer imagining through the imagination. It's a weird Ouroboros fractal, I know. It can be hard to grok sometimes, but that is what it is. So let's go ahead and get some clarifications. It's funny that the Seven of Cups is coming up because Julia Simas, who's coming on the podcast, like I said, is, I think, has like a Pisces stellium or something. She's a Pisces, I know. I forget what exactly. She, a bunch of people like Kirli, Cosmic Priestess, Kai Pacha, many others are CIA agents, as in Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So she's got that going on. 10 of Air. That's some imagination. Both of these are silhouettes, kind of a person, and it's almost yin-yanging, right? So we got the 10 of Air. And with the moon in Libra and the North Node in Gemini, we got some air action for show. So let's go ahead and talk about what this is all about, as the Canadians up north might say. So the 10 of Air. Individuation, self-actualization, liberation, altered perceptions, right? It said altered states in this card, same idea. New paradigms, great mystery, paradox, and potential. Key phrases: it's a time of independence. Say goodbye to the public persona. No longer bound by another's opinion. Walk your own path. Humans are paradoxical by nature. See and know your potential. The self is whole and it's time to grow up and leave home. The process of individuation leads to becoming oneself, to stepping away from the external forces that we believe define us, to becoming an independent being who recognizes and embraces their own uniqueness and individuality. It is about removing the mask we present to the public so that we are liked and respected and accepted, the face we wear so we fit in and belong. No longer are our public face and private life very different. We present our face to the world, and if it is not liked, then so be it. If it makes us and this is very Aquarian energy, right? Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius is like, I do what I diggity want, and you're going to watch. All right? If people don't like it, so be it. If it makes us a black sheep in a flock of white sheep, then so be it. North Node Gemini, be yourself, right? As opposed to South Node Sagittarius, like conform with tradition. We would rather be honest and accepted by the few than to be what family or society expects. Individuation is being who we are meant to be, as opposed to being the person society tells us we should be. It is breaking free from caring about what people think of us because we love who we are and what we do with our life. We are free, liberated because we are not bound by others' opinions of us or our actions and constraints of society or the impediments of our past. It is integrating the conscious and unconscious, soul and shadow, the masculine and the feminine. And like I said, it does look rather like a masculine and feminine yin-yanging here between the two cards, right? It is integrating these two and creating a whole where the self resides at the center. No longer does duality separate and divide. All is in harmony, a working unison. You are you, whole, complete, and ever evolving, and that evolution is not a linear process. It is a circumambulatory process of viewing the self and seeing it from multiple perspectives, North Node in Gemini, seeing things from many sides, and accepting and integrating all of the facets and aspects into the whole. No aspect is ugly or beautiful. None are good or bad. None are worse or better. Each has its place and purpose as part of the beautiful whole. And with the moon in Libra, we can harmonize very easily here. To individuate is to understand paradox and accept that you are one. You are human. To be a whole and complete human is to be paradoxical. To individuate is to see and know your potential and to step forward into the unknown and meet it. You are willing to step away from all that you were so that you may become all that you choose to be. In this process, your perception is altered forever. You are forever transformed. No more are you willing to embrace old paradigms that limit and restrict, South Node and Sag, that espouse a belief that says you should or should not or cannot, thus says the Lord, very South Node Sag. You move forward into the great mystery with confidence, knowing that even while life offers conflict and chaos, when we remain at the center, we have peace. That's the balance of the middle of the Libra moon. It's like when you have the paradox in hand on both sides, you can't go wrong. When the Ten of Air appears in your reading, it represents a time in our life after we have chosen to step free of the mask and we're only one face in private and public. No longer do we hide our thoughts, beliefs, or feelings in order to be accepted, liked, or respected. We have turned our back on expectations, on convention, on mediocrity, on normalcy, to embrace and accept who we are and stand tall and proud. It is time to separate yourself from the herd and to walk your own path. Step through the doorway and begin a life where new paradigms replace the old, and you are free to be the best you can be instead of what society tells you that you must be, right? And like I keep saying, with Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius, we're about expanding into new places emotionally with the cups, Seven of Cups, and ultimately being who we already are without the pretenses, right? So typically we tend to behave for, church or lovers or family or government or, likes on Facebook or whatever the fuck. Speaking of likes on Facebook, if you like what you're hearing, like it, share it, whatever's clever. But ultimately, we're tapping into a potential of creativity that is independent of pretense, that's willing to step through the door of the unknown and go towards what our heart and mind, in a paradoxical sense, already has always been, but we're rediscovering, remembering, we're awakening to. That's kind of the whole thing of awakening. My computer fell asleep. Don't want that to happen, as I'm going to be playing a song. And I want to play electric, but my brother is doing some stuff next door, and he said, please don't play the electric guitar. He's doing classwork or something, so I'm going to respect that and be creative independently of the electric guitar for a few days. But that's good, too, because it's making me sing and play acoustic, which I never really do anymore. We've got Pushing the Envelope, number 17. He's pushing the envelope. It almost looks like it doesn't look like a square envelope, but it's like, here's the envelope and he's pushing it, right? And she's pushing the envelope going into the unknown. We're pushing the envelope. 17 is a very resonant number to me. 17 star card of a lot of Aquarian energy, Sun and Moon in 11th house, as well as Jupiter in Aquarius. But my birthday is June 17th, so it's kind of a number for me in my reality tunnel. Lyra timeline, present, 17, pushing the envelope. A Lyran trait that humans share is the need to push the envelope, to force ourselves to go beyond limitations. Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, pushing the envelope. This is what drove them and us to always grow more, beyond the laws of physics, beyond current technology, beyond physical endurance, beyond the restraints of culture and expectation, right? This could be a good quality when a breakthrough is desperately needed. However, this trait can become obsessive and cause us to never rest and always push ourselves to exhaustion. This most likely has been a karmic pattern of yours for many lifetimes. Now it is time to let it go. Your self-care is more important than pushing the envelope. So it's ironic because both of these cards were about like push it, go to new places, but we have to do it in a healthy way. We can't just obsessively always cut beyond the bleeding edge or else we'll burn out. This theme refers to the human and Lyran tendency to become single-minded and sometimes ego-driven, pushing ourselves beyond our limits in order to accomplish a goal. While this can at times be an admirable quality, it can also severely hamper our evolution and keep us stuck in actions driven by ego. When we are stuck in those ego-driven tendencies, it becomes impossible to connect with our higher nature and evolve beyond the limitations of the ego. On the other hand, this card may be giving you a message to push yourself harder when you are afraid, thus acting as encouragement for you. Do you tend to give up on your goals too easily? If so, this card may be encouraging you to focus, trust, and keep going. It may also be giving you the message that you can learn and grow quite a bit by going beyond your perceived limitations, whether they're self-imposed or other-imposed. Only by looking at the surrounding cards as well as looking honestly within yourself can you ascertain the meaning of this enigmatic card and apply it to your life. This was a major lesson for the Lyrans during this phase of their life development, when to push harder and when to let go. Balance, right? The paradox, Libra moon. Ultimately, when faced with species evolution, it is a delicate balance. Eventually, however, consciousness transcendence happens at the point of surrender. This is a lesson Earth humans are currently facing on the personal and planetary levels, right? So we need to push envelopes, but we need to surrender. Seven of Cups is about surrendering to creativity, surrendering to dreams, surrendering to ultimately the divine dream that you're participating in. Pushing the envelope, going through the doors, right? But doing so in a balanced way, in a way that isn't if you're always pushing, learn when to sit still. If you're always sitting still, learn when to push, right? That kind of energy. So and with Capricorn, Sun, and Mercury, and Pluto, we're transforming through the actions we take in the world. So maybe you've been pushing in one direction your whole life, and it's time to just kind of take a breather and see what the effect is. Achievement is what Capricorn's all about, right? Limits, pushing past limits, right? And this guy's pushing past creative limits, creative boundaries. She's walking through the door of her mind and saying there are no boundaries. But at the same time, you don't want to just, you want to check back with mission control every now and then and make sure that you have fuel for where you're going. You can't, people who explored the world had to take the supplies with them, and they could only push so far until they had to go either back for supplies or create an outpost to, trade there and hunt and all that stuff, if you get what I mean. So, my childhood friend is messaging me. I hope to get her on the podcast. She's cool. She's a Montessori school teacher and a roller derby chica, so that should be fun. So stability, I think she'll do it. Stability, right? It's the balance we're talking about between pushing, and look, here's more water, right? It's about pushing and exploring responsibly in a steady and conscious way, not just like an unconscious, impulsive way. So stability. And with the moon in Libra, we are bringing balance. 8 is a very balanced, if you put it on its side, it's infinity symbol. It's a very balanced symbol. 8. 8, sea turtle, stability. Operating from a stable base is advantageous. If you need help and guidance, ask for it, as you are loved and supported. Delve deeply into the study of something rather than just skimming the surface. Do not push hard for what you want all the time, right? Don't push the limits all the time. Instead, set an intention or direct and steadily flow towards it. 7 of Cups. Create from a place of imagination. Not every journey needs to be difficult or one full of drama. Mythos. There was a beautiful and magical sea turtle called Ho'oponopoke who lived on the waters of the Big Island of Hawaii. She was happy, but it was time for her to meet a husband. She met a strong, kind sea turtle called Honoea, who was also magical. Soon it was time for Ho'oponopoke to lay her eggs, and this she did, a large single black egg, patterned like the dark wood of a kaulua tree. While the turtle parents waited for the baby to hatch, they dug a hole nearby, and they dug it so deeply that fresh water, 7 of Cups, water, came forth, and a beautiful pool was formed. Soon the baby was hatched and rose up out of the sand, a young female turtle just as magical as her parents. They named her Kailua, after the tree. She had a very pretty pale head, and yet her shell was strong and dark and domed, powerfully protective even in someone so strong. So beautiful and strong. Paradoxical balance, Libra moon. Kailua saw the clear spring pond and headed straight for it. She went, king of the mountain, going for it, achievement. Sun in Capricorn and Mercury in Capricorn. Happy, and Mars in Aries, happy that she had a home for herself. She swam down deeply and made silvery bubbles that burst upon the surface. Soon young human children discovered the pond. North Node in Gemini, she's playing with kids. Kailua allowed them to ride upon her back if they were fatigued, and sometimes she would transform herself into a young girl so she could play with them. When the children visited and they noticed the bubbles popping up from below, they knew Kailua was there in the pool with them, making sure that they were safe. The animal. One of the highlights of my life so far is being lucky enough to witness tens of little sea turtles hatch on a moonlit night on a beach in eastern Africa. Out they came, tumbling down the dune, heading towards the bright lunar light and struggling valiantly towards the safety of the ocean. Some became confused about what light to follow, and some were found scrambling along the hallways of a brightly lit beachfront hotel. Gently cradling one of these wanderers in my hand, and taking a closer look, I was so moved to see that this little green wonder had a tiny bloody mark on its belly. I picked up another. This one did too. As I released them into the dark ocean, I thought, yes, baby turtles also have a navel at birth. On average, 100 eggs are laid, and only one will live to maturity. Such is the life of a sea turtle. However, that one sea turtle will live for over 50 years, right? And with the sun in Capricorn, it's about it. Life ain't easy. You got to move through the difficulty. Females mate while at sea and then return to their hatching place quietly and solitarily, laying a clutch of eggs on the same beach at night. The exception to this is the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, which arrive en masse, called the Arabada, during the day. Turtles are one of the only creatures to eat seagrass, an important cyclic action for the health and stability of the ecosystem. Other common foods are jellyfish, snails, sponges, and crabs. Eggs that are laid and not hatched eventually degrade and nourish the dune plants. It's the circle of life. Migrating long distances of 1,200 kilometers or more to breeding territories is a hallmark of many sea turtle species. And yes, like the sea turtles featured in famous animated movies, they do ride the currents. The magic, sea turtle magic, flows to us with stability and resilience. Moon in Libra, but it flows. 7 of Cups. When you want something to come to fruition, but do not want to have to push very hard for it, as you perhaps have habitually done, ride the wave of sea turtle magic and with its ease and surety. Sea turtles travel long distances, yet follow the currents and hitch a ride. You too can do the same energetically and refuse to be pressured. Right, that south node. You can push the envelope gently, and you can refuse to be pressured by outside forces or internal mental forces. Sometimes you need to accept someone else's more stable helping hand so you can rest a little, a healthy part of the lesson of sea turtles. Symbology's bubbles, the turtle shell, the unique eye-shaped shells. Status of 7 species of sea turtles. They are all are on the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List of endangered species as being either endangered or critically endangered. It is arguably the loggerhead turtles that are most endangered. How can you help protect sea turtles? Be aware of where turtles nest, and if you are in a nesting area, turn off any ambient light. You want hatchlings to go towards the moon and the water, not your home. Keep the sea clean by doing beach cleanups and reduce plastic use. Report stores that sell illegal turtle shells and products, and support conservative efforts or conservation efforts and laws that prohibit long line fishing, especially without turtle excluders. So sea turtle, right? It's the stable, balanced, loving energy, creative energy. 7 of Cups. We're going into a place where if we just and in a weird way, this almost looks like underneath a turtle with that as being its shell, the background, if you know what I mean. Like we're underneath it and you see it in a weird way. I being weird, I know. But anyway, the sea turtle is bringing balance, and we can bring balance to our creativity through opening doors that maybe we've always been afraid to open, simultaneously not just pushing the envelope for the sake of it. You don't want to just be a rebel without a cause, right? That's kind of the idea. Sometimes people do that. I know I've done it, and it doesn't usually lead to good results. So the artist we're getting today is Da Vinci. And this kind of resonates with the Vitruvian Man. See how his arms are out? See how his arms are out? Vitruvian Man resonances. So Da Vinci. Probably the first card in this deck. Yep. Leonardo da Vinci epitomized the Renaissance man, or in modern parlance, the overproductive possible cokehead, Sun and Mercury and Capricorn, with his crazy achievements, which achievement is really the name of the game for Capricorn, in science, anatomy, architecture, engineering, invention, sculpture, drawing, painting, and more, all stemming from creativity ultimately, right? Because if you can't imagine it, it can't happen. Anything that's created in the real world started as a dream or an idea first. Da Vinci today is known by every cargo pants wearing dad bod lining up to see the Mona Lisa or the Last Supper. Da Vinci's interests included human and animal dissection, analyzing human proportion. Said to be centuries ahead of his time, and that's very much Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius, cutting edge, ahead of its time machine, genius. He left behind notebooks of forward-looking research, including alpha studies of helicopters and tanks, and near-perfect anatomical drawings give or take a reproductive detail or two. So the advice we're getting from Da Vinci is look into research like you would a crystal ball. The crystal ball is and there's like this sacred geometry ball up here. Intuitively look into your dreams, your imagination. When someone's looking into a crystal ball, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there because I've never had it done and I've never tried it myself. But I think the idea is that you're looking into the imagination through an altered perception, right? It's altering the mind's eye. You can actually, and she's almost like in the crystal ball looking out to the seer, right? And the eyes here, like, okay, you can see. We can push the envelope by looking into the crystal ball and gazing into it deeply. Ultimately, though, we need to be stable in our reality. And it's like dreams come true if you work towards them. Capricorn Sun, Mercury. It's like imagination is great, but what are you doing with it? Capricorn, Mercury. Actions are required. Don't just sit there and go, oh, although there's a place for both. Balanced, Libra, Moon. So Da Vinci is telling us that looking into a research ball, look into research as in searching out things, your mind, your creativity, as you would a crystal ball. And you never know what you're going to see in a crystal ball, I guess is the idea. right? You can't just presume, you can't assume you'll know. So I think looking into learning North Node and Gemini with intuitive openness is kind of the way forward. So the stone we're getting today, and you can quantumly entangle with this because science says so, but ultimately you don't have to own this to gain benefits from it, though my fiance does have a huge chunk of this. Rose quartz. What it is, rose quartz is love in rock form. Who needs it? The overly self-critical, sentient spiritual beings who love deeply, those in the healing arts or those who want to be. Where to put it? In spaces you want to zone safe and sacred. Held with both hands to your heart with the utmost loving kindness. How Libra, moon. Both hands, not just one, balanced hands towards your heart, loving, right, Libra, kind of tenderness. When to use it? When you feel like you always have to be the one to have it all figured out, to work the hardest, to hold it all together for everyone else, right? The kind of shadow of Capricorn season where it's like, I'm working so hard and I have no one appreciates me. Rose quartz gives us a pink cashmere covered platform to be soft, sweet, and open to spirit. This is take care of your heart. And ultimately we could take care of our heart through pursuing our dreams, right? And being open to those dreams we maybe have never chosen to walk through the door of, right? And not being afraid. We need to be walking through that door in a stable way, not just running through it. You don't want to just push the envelope and just be like, well, I'm going to go to, the end of the universe or, in a spaceship. It's like, do you have the supplies to do that? Are you balanced and stable, right? And as Da Vinci is pointing out, he's saying, look into research like you would a crystal ball. So it's okay to push the envelope, and you want to do it with intuition and heart at the helm and curiosity, not so much expectation in terms of demandingness, being demanding. I don't think demandingness is a word. Being hyper demanding, and you don't want to be like closed-minded. Like she's not closed-minded; she's open-minded. She's willing to go into a new dimension of mind, 10 of air. But we want to, with our hearts and our intuitions, go stepping through the door, ultimately taking care of our heart because that is our guidance system in the dream. The mind is here to help us process what we're experiencing at a level, but it's not here to do more than make sense, if you want to put it that way, of reality. It's not here to guide us. If we rely on our mind, we'll always see paradox. We'll never be sure of anything, really. So I'm going to play a Beatles song that was requested. I've never tried this song, and it's been a long time since I've heard it, so hopefully I don't butcher it. But this is also very much, it was even in the lyrics of one of those or the words of the card I was saying, look around, right, 10 of air, and it's like, look around, round, round. That's kind of one of those choruses. So, I don't know what this intro is. I think it's some crazy intro, but I forget. Dear Prudence, okay, now I gotta get this right. See, you're watching me learn right now, but I'm taking risks and not worrying about it, right? Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, greet the brand new day. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, dun, dun, open up your eyes. Dear Prudence, see the sunny skies. The wind is low, the birds will sing, that you are part of everything, dear Prudence. Won't you open up your eyes? around, round, 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 round. Look around, round, 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 round. Look around, round, 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 round. Look around. Oh, I just scrolled too far. I have no clue where that went. Look around. Dear Prudence, let me see you smile. Dear Prudence, like a little child. The clouds will be a daisy chain, so let me see you smile again, dear Prudence. Won't you let me see you smile, dear Prudence? Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, greet the brand new day. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Or something. I'm not used to playing that song. I haven't heard it in a long ass time, probably a decade or something like that, maybe even. So hopefully I didn't butcher that. Sorry, ghost of John Lennon. Although I think that sounds like a Paul McCartney song. But in any event, unsure. What we need to be doing is look around, round, round, and understand that we can create our reality with our imagination. Dream big, right? Use our intuition, 7 of Cups. We can step into real domains, 10 of Air, of our mind, going into further and further levels of reality when we are willing to do that. But paradoxically, we don't want to push the envelope needlessly. We don't want to just eat all the drugs or go on all the trips, not just drugs, but traveling to the end of the earth without supplies. We want to do it in such a balanced way that we can actually recover and come back and report what we've seen in these ecstatic states, what we've seen in these dream states, what we've seen in these lucid states, right? It's great to push the mind and the heart ultimately into new domains, and they almost look like a Libra moon balance here, but you have to do it in a stable place, balanced way, stable, right? A way that's pushing forward with integrity, not just wildly. And somebody who pushed forward with integrity and not just doing all the craziness was Da Vinci. He pushed quite a bit, and he says, look into the research like you would a crystal ball. Look around, round, round. And you can look into research with like a crystal ball using your intuition, 7 of Cups. You can learn quite a bit. North Node in Gemini, 10 of Air. Libra moon. But you need to take care of your heart. You need to be well equipped with your heart, loving yourself, being compassionate, really ultimately. When I say love yourself, it's not like some narcissistic, oh, I'm the shit. Confidence at that level is cool. It's got its place, but you got to keep it in balance. And you want to be like, oh man, I have mistakes, and you don't want to go too far that way, right? Ultimately, having compassion for yourself is how you kind of steer these waters. And how do you have compassion through your heart? So take care of your heart. It will be the key to your dreams. It will be the guide to your imagination. Having a heart will allow you to love yourself enough, but not too much, not to be cocky essentially, and to take note of your mistakes and not to belittle yourself, right? And lose hope. You want to push the envelope, but don't go too, it's better to burn out than fade away, as Neil Young's saying, but that's not it. That's kind of the opposite. It's it's better to not go towards the surface of the sun and fall apart like Icarus sometimes, right? And people can push the envelope. Da Vinci did. And he did it into looking into research like he would a crystal ball, right? Using his heart and his intuition. His joy led him. I mean, he was fascinated by life in the natural world, and he kind of mimicked it in art and his perceptions of inventions in art and all that jazz that the Da Vinci Man did. So hit me up for a reading. I know I've got to give Heather one right now, actually, so I'm going to hang up here and hit you up, Heather. And check out the podcast. Yesterday we had Dan Winter on. Fascinating conversation. Today we're having Julia Simis. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. She's from Australia. She's in charge of CIA's Cosmic Intelligence Agency, an astrology kind of thing. Very cool chick. She'll be coming on. She's a Pisces. That should be fun. Yeah, but ultimately live the dream. Dream big. Look, he's expanding into dreams, right? Willing to go through new doors. Don't just limit yourself. Simultaneously, both and. Like, dream big, but be stable about it. Dream big, but don't go crazy. Don't push the envelope, and don't just be like, well, I'm going to be a sea turtle who has 100 babies. It's like, you're a human. There's limits here. So, look into research like you would a crystal ball, i.e. use your intuition and ultimately your heart. So take care of your heart with rose quartz. And hopefully that all makes sense. That was an okay attempt at a song, but that was a request. I guess if you have any requests for songs, I'll be playing acoustic for the next few days. So let me know in the comments. Leave a tip if you feel like it. And hit me up for readings. But most definitely check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. You won't be disappointed in that content, I guarantee. So have a beautiful Wednesday. Adios. Bye.